Nisargadatta once said, don't try and be something you're not. But on the other hand, don't refuse to be who you are. You're all loving, you're all powerful. There's nothing that's impossible for you. Not imagination. When we were raised as children, we were taught to imagine ourselves in a orthodox or, a way so that we could interact with society in such a way that, we do well and prosper. That act that we learned, is our personality. It's actually the root word for personality is persona, and persona comes from, it means mask. So just, we picture our, and I know I've done it my entire life, just you picture on a stick of what I want the world to believe that I am. And then I walk around inflicting the picture on everybody, saying, hey, accept me. But I'm not letting them know who I am. See, with this picture, I'm trying to get them to accept the picture. We don't need these pictures. For our identity, we might need them to operate in the world. We go around and take different roles. But we can do it with the full knowledge that that's not who we are. And if somebody insults the picture, big deal. If someone praises the picture, big deal. Doesn't matter. And that just opens up everything for you because you're not living in fear anymore. And the mind isn't worried about whether or not the picture is being accepted because it knows it's not who we are. We quit serving the false god and we just relax and allow ourselves, these bodies, to be lived. It's quite wonderful. So that's just about what I have to say for openers. If there are any questions or comments or problems or suggestions, I'd be happy to deal with them.
How do you align with the blue sky?
Well, it's depending how you say it, it's either a metaphor or an analogy, but there's not two. That's what this whole thing is about. There's no me to align with the blue sky. There's just the sky. Yeah. We imagine ourselves as something, it's difficult because there's still this idea we have of ourselves as the one who's the manager of our spiritual development, our growth and everything. And self-inquiry is where we look back and see if that's real or not, or whether that's just another persona. So I've been in satsang where people would either say, I'm proud of myself, and then if they're despondent, people will say, well, I can't live with myself. And I ask them, well, which one are you? Now, are you the one that's, despondent, or are you the one that's, are you the one you can't live with, or are you the one that can't live with them? Which one are you? And there's three possible answers, I guess. Well, there are four. One's silence. That's not a bad answer. The other is I'm one or the other. The other is I'm both. If I say I'm one or the other, there's if I say I'm both, then there's three. Now we've got three personas to deal with now. The super-egoic judge of the one that's making the dualistic statement. So it's how we get confused. That confuses us. But if we say neither, at least we're still, then, you know, and we can look and see whether or not, we have to actually look, and not just do it out of hand, but look and see. Now, with the blue sky, of course, that's kind of a interesting one, because I already labeled the blue sky as being the truth, but it was in the form of analogy. But if you're sitting here, wondering whether or not you're the silence or the one that's, talking about the silence, one can see that the silence has never moved. That hasn't changed our entire life, the silent awareness that we are. But the ideas we have about ourselves are changing constantly. So by the criteria, the Eastern criteria of reality, the ideas we have about ourselves are just phenomenal occurrences. But the silent awareness is real, because it doesn't move, it has no boundaries, it's not limited in time. So we can do this. Admittedly, the ego is being asked to examine itself. It's been likened to, if you're walking barefoot around Arunachala, the holy mountain in India, and you get a thorn in your foot, and you have no tools with you, probably the only way you're going to get that thorn out is to pick up another thorn and use it to dig out the other thorn. And then you throw both thorns away. And then you're just left with yourself with a hole in your foot. but less pain. So it's also been likened that the egoic identity that's being used to do the inquiry is like the stick that's being used to stir a funeral pyre. And finally the stick itself catches fire and disappears into the fire, and they burn together. Yeah. This is a practice that, Ramana Maharshi, who I learned, he was, in his writings, learned about this in his errors, so to speak, spiritual errors, where I learned about this, never discouraged anyone from following any sadhana that they are already engaged in. He says, you complete that until the sadhana drops you. Mm-hmm. Don't think that all of a sudden you need to run from that sadhana to this sadhana. But if you are moved to self-inquiry, it has the reputation as being the quickest way to self-realization. But it may not be for everybody at this time. But sometimes in satsang the seeds are planted. But this self-knowledge is possible for everybody. It's not an experience. It's about knowing yourself. Experiences all come and go, don't they? But this knowledge is something that gets uncovered. It's our ideas of who we are superimposed over the knowledge. And it's not even knowledge, really. It's like a gerund more. It's a knowingness. And it's a knowingness, a knowing. Yeah, was a verb followed by ing as a gerund. Is that right?
Used as a noun.
Used as a noun, yeah.
Excuse me. How has being sick affected this for you? Has it shifted things?
I think when they finally gave me kind of a little time limit, that they were guessing about how long I'd be around, it made things more immediate.